Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they work in your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Well, all right. As you can see, we were supposed to have had Gonzo here tonight, but he had a minor league baseball game to go hang out at, and so obviously he is not here. Frankie has to go work, so you're stuck with me and Logan for tonight. No special guests, but that's all right because we got a hell of a lot of sports to talk about, and the playoffs are getting underway. Major League Baseball still kicking up its teams. We just had the WNBA draft. All these things we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm your boy, Jay McLovin. And as always, my faithful sidekick, almost as faithful as my wife, Logan Landers.
What up, Jay? Yeah, man, just me and you doing it tonight. A great tag team duo. And we'll see how it goes tonight, man. It is a little bit sad, not going to lie, just not having Gonzo, who's been here a good amount lately, and Frankie, of course, bailing on us. But, it is what it is. We'll take it under the chin, and we'll get through the show one way or another, my friend.
Oh, yes, we will. And like I said, man, we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy kicked off because, as you know, right now, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but we'll be giving you live updates. The Cavaliers and the Nets play the first game on TNT. So as we go along, we'll be giving you off and on updated scores if you're not able to watch the game. And, so let's get into the program, folks. Ryan Howard selected number 1 in the 2022 WNBA draft. Now, I want to talk about a few things outside of just Ryan Howard being taken number 1. There's a lot to unpack with this WNBA draft. For those of you that did get to see it, you probably saw some questionable moves. And for those of you that watched it, you saw Indiana just make a big payday. But as of right now, we're gonna break it off first of all and talk about Ryan Howard, and then we'll get into the other stuff. Ryan Howard, as you know, is a 6'2" guard. She's out of Kentucky. She was a 2002 Wade finalist. And it was really between her and Alyssa Smith, the center out of Baylor, as to who was going to go number 1. I think if you're Indiana Fever or if you're the Atlanta Dream, it's really a no-brainer, or it's really infallible that you can mess it up because whether you get Nyla Smith or you got Ryan Howard, I mean, you were going to get a hell of a player to build around, no matter what. But the Dream decided to go with the 6'2" guard. And, if you look at her stats, she averages about 35 minutes, scores about 20.5 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And her field goal percentage is around 44%. So she's a pretty good, solid player out of Kentucky. And I think she's going to do well for the rebuilding, rebranding, everything brand new Atlanta Dream. As you know, with the Dream, they have basically got new ownership, new management, new coach, and now they got their star player to build around. And it's going to be interesting to see where this Atlanta Dream team goes. Before we get into a little bit of the other part of the draft that I want to talk about, Logan, I want to get your theory or your thought process on Ryan Howard going number 1 over an Alyssa Smith.
Yeah. I mean, the more I kind of looked in depth at it, I felt like Howard was the better choice. I mean, like you said, no doubt both of those women were definitely capable and were definitely the best two to pick at that time. And man, she's got a laundry list of awards. It'll take me half the show to list them all, and that's just in college. And also a fun fact, Jay, she is the first female taken number 1 overall in the WNBA draft. I mean, we all know about Kentucky and their men's sports, right? In their basketball,
right.
You always hear 5-10 guys each year pretty much getting taken. But, much congratulations to her being the first ever Kentucky Wildcat female basketball player to get selected number 1 overall. And, I mean, obviously, we know that the Dream wanted her for a long time. There's a reason they sent the number 3 overall pick, as well as their 2023 first-round pick to Washington. We discussed that last week on the show. And, I mean, she's a great talent. Grew up not too far from Atlanta. She grew up in Tennessee, about 100-plus miles away. And she's going to be 22 at the end of the month here in April. And I think that Atlanta got a really good player all in all. I mean, she's like you mentioned, she scores a lot of points. She's a good combo player. She can play defense. She can play offense. She's a 3-time All-American in Kentucky in the SEC, one of the toughest conferences, whatever sport you're playing. And like I said, she's got good size. She's athletic. And, I mean, she's like a top-tier prospect all in all. And
right.
It's like I mentioned, it's clear that Atlanta wanted her. She can shoot from 3. She can do pull-ups. Like I say, she's great on defense. And all in all, I think they made the right choice, the correct choice at getting someone who shoots at a 44-45% clip her entire career and close to 40% from 3, about 37-38. I mean, there's not much better you can get all in all. I'm happy she went there. Hopefully she has a tremendous career. Atlanta has had some great players in the past, and I think that Ryan Howard is about to etch her name into some immortality, into some stardom. But she's got a lot of hype to live up to, Jay. She is the number 1 overall pick, so all eyes will be on her this upcoming season.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about, like I was telling you earlier, there were some really interesting moves that went down in this draft, and I wanted to pull the draft up so I could tell you about them. Obviously, the Fever had the most picks, right? The Fever they were just top. I mean, literally, the Fever almost made a Dream Team just out of the draft. No, I'm serious. It was ridiculous. At just how well they did. I mean, they obviously addressed every single need that they had. The one that was kind of interesting to me the team that was kind of interesting to me was the Liberty, and I believe it was the LA Sparks. They pretty much passed up on some really good players to take some other unusual players. Not that it was bad, but they for example, is it Lexi Henderson or Desi Henderson? She actually wound up going, I believe, late in the second round, which she's like the number 1 or number 2 point guard in the draft, and for her to slip down that far, to me, was really crazy, because I thought she should have done a lot better than what she did. I guess there was definitely some questionable moves. I think it wasn't always, in this case, it wasn't always best player available taken, and in some cases, they were really drafted more by positional need. Because typically you see in the draft, they typically go with best available. But in this particular draft, it was more based on positional need rather than best available. There was a lot, like I said, Henderson slid down to very low in the second round, and I really kind of thought she was going to go more in the first round. I don't know if you caught the draft at all, Logan.
I caught a glimpse of it. Didn't get a chance to a whole lot of it because I was filming some other shows, but I did kind of glance at it a little bit, just kind of see who all went where. And dude, you weren't freaking kidding. I'm looking at it here. The Indiana Fever selected. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players overall, Jay, between both rounds. I mean that is a brand new roster. That's a starting 5 plus 2 on the bench. What's
interesting, Logan, is the fact that, and I just looked at that now. I found out where she was. So obviously Destiny Henderson's out of South Carolina. Of course, South Carolina, won the championship.
Right.
And,
right.
she is a first-round caliber pick, but the Fever actually got her at number 20.
Yeah, got her in the
that's how the Fever drafted.
I feel that maybe the Fever probably had, depending on how all these women turn out, they definitely have the most potential. I know our guy Gonzo was happy with this. I'm sure, Jay, right? Him being in Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And, they've got a ton of brand new talent on this roster, hoping to get things going here. But the crazy thing is, Jay, is they picked 4 women within the top 10 picks.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So they have to hope that all of them knock it out of the park, have tremendous, at least early on season success, right, for Indiana to get things right. I'm seeing a quote here on ESPN.com. It's saying that Lynn Dunn, the GM, said that she wanted energetic young players who could bring some defense. And I think she got that right. She got a lot of women, like you mentioned, Melissa Smith, who was the 2nd overall pick out of Baylor, got Emily Inkstler, Lexi Hull. And Hull, let's not forget, Jay, she led the Cardinals right out of Louisville in steals last year with 78. Yeah. So, they definitely got some good defense on their team. But the only thing I'm going to be a little bit skeptical of, Jay, is how are they going to be able to coexist on the court? Because this is and I'm not saying this in a bad way, right? But hear me out. It's kind of like the Lakers in a sense that you're getting all of these brand new players. How is the chemistry going to work? Because you're not sure. You're not sure.
Right. And that's the thing, right? On paper, they just look phenomenal. Of course, they're going to have inexperience. They're going to have to develop chemistry. They're going to have to gel. I think that next year, or I should say this upcoming season in WNBA, I think the Fever will be knocking on the door to get in the playoffs. I don't know they quite make it in, but I could see the Fever, if they can make this team work, if they can keep this core nucleus together and develop that chemistry and avoid injuries. This team could be very dangerous and even win a WNBA championship down the road. I really feel like with the talent and the acquisitional needs that they had, and what they got is just phenomenal. And what's interesting to me is you look at Las Vegas. Las Vegas had, in my opinion, they batted .500. They didn't hit the ball out of the park, but they didn't lose either. I think it was a very conservative first draft for newly hired Becky Ham under Popovich coming over to Vegas. So I hope she got what she needed. They had quite a few picks as well, but it was in my opinion, very conservative draft on her part. So it's going to be interesting to see how she transforms this Vegas team and where they go from here, Logan.
Yeah, it really just depends on, because like you mentioned, they were one of the teams that made a trade. They made a trade with Minnesota to get the number 8 and 13 overall picks. For 8, they went with Maya Hollingshed out of Colorado. Some people thought that this was kind of a reach, like you mentioned. And if she turns out to be great, it works, right? But we've seen before in the NBA that if you sometimes reach on a player and it don't work out, then you're going to be looking at a couple of years of trying to rebuild and trying to fill that position once again. But it all just depends. They also got Kirsten Bell out of FGC, right? Florida Gulf Coast University. Yeah. That should be a good pickup, right? She's got good size, good perimeter defense, and shooting as well. But they got a lot of women with experience, Jay. They got Hollingshed, Pointer, Shepard, and Afua. All of them were 5th-year seniors. So you're getting a lot of women with a lot of experience, a lot of talent, and you hope that can help translate into the Aces roster, and they can mesh well with the core they have already. So it'll be interesting to see. But like you said, that was one of those teams where they think they might have done well. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over time. But it was an interesting couple of pickups for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. And I just feel like for Becky Hammond, and this is her first year as a head coach in the WNBA, that, it really is going a lot to depend on her. Her drafting ability this draft to set the tone early for this team. So I don't know, man. Like I said, in my opinion, this is a little conservative, a little bit questionable on her drafting. But hey, we shall see.
Yes, sir.
We shall see, my brother. All right, moving right along. WWE Monday Night Raw recap, and I don't know, man, Logan. Hey, listen, it was okay. Raw was okay. It wasn't like It was still a lot more, you could feel the WrestleMania coming down off the WrestleMania vibe feel to it. Yeah. So, but you saw Veer Mahan make short work of Dominic.
Yeah, short.
And put him on the stretcher. The thing about it was to me is, so he wins the match. And then he just feels like he needs to do more destruction because he needs to put the fear in all of the opponents. And so he goes back and puts that spine breaker on him. And, of course, they got officials trying to break him off, this, that, and the other. And, of course, they finally get him off. And then, of course, you see Dominic going to the emergency room. What did you think about the first match, Logan?
Bro, he got absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair here, Jay. Dom's had a rough couple of weeks. Right, at Mania, he was the one who took the pin on the Logan Paul and Miz match, right? He lost that. And then the last week, he lost in about, 30 seconds to the Miz. And now this week, he lost in, I think, let me see if I can find the time here in what I got. I mean, it was maybe 5 minutes at most.
Right.
Actually, I see it here at a website I'm looking at. It was 1:58 seconds.
Yeah, it was short. It was so short.
His last two matches, singles matches, that is, they went under 4 minutes for sure. So it's looking like Jay, because it's interesting because his father, Ray, wasn't out there. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with that. Because Ray was originally supposed to face him. That's what it was previewed as. But they, like it always is in wrestling, Jay, the card is subject to change. But I don't know what they're going to do with him because it looks like they're going to write him off TV for a while. They might send him back to NXT. It's kind of interesting because they are going to have him not be on the show for, at least a little bit because, like you said, they did stretcher him off. He did go off in an ambulance with a back brace and all that. So we probably won't see Dominic Mysterio for a couple of weeks for sure. But this was Veer's kind of re-debut, right? He was on the main roster a while ago, took off for a long time, and then they're bringing him back as a killer. Overall, good showing from him, good size, good power. And I could see him one day, not right now, obviously, but in the future, probably going for the United States Championship. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't see him being that top tier level guy yet. He might have that. But at least early on, I could definitely see him going for a middle card title for sure.
Yeah, and I think for Dominic, he's just not as fast as his dad is. And he doesn't have as many flashes.
He's got more size. He's got more size.
He definitely needs to develop a little bit more quickness and a little bit more flashier moves if he wants to continue. Yeah. He may need to put a little weight on if he's going to try to go up against Veer Mahan. Let's just be honest.
I was about to say, I think he's one of those guys, Jay, that might need to get a beard or he might need to get a mask or something because he's too clean cut, right? Do you see that?
Yeah, he is very clean cut.
He looks too young in a way. I know I think he's 24, maybe 25. But he looks like he's fresh out of high school, in all honesty.
And and as we kind of move on, then we kind of see AJ Styles earlier see Damian Priest backstage while he's giving an interview, and he just goes a little bit berserk and attacks basically Damian Priest and kind of puts him in there a little bit. And so there's a little bit of a scuffle, and they eventually get them separated apart. And of course, then later on in the night, they had their match.
If you want to say that.
Yeah. But the power goes out. They're fighting, and the power goes out, and then you kind of just see Damian Priest doing something in the middle of the ring. I don't know if he's praying or meditating or what I don't know like what he's doing in the middle of the ring.
I need an explanation for this one because it was a good match, Jay. It was a really good match up till that.
I thought so.
I was upset.
I thought Styles was doing a pretty good job. I thought he was handling it pretty well.
Styles got busted open a little bit. I'm not sure what it was, but he was kind of bleeding from the head. Looks like maybe he got a knuckle to the forehead. I don't know. It wasn't much blood, but it was just a little bit to be a small cut. Maybe he got a fingernail scratch or something. I don't know. But, they like you said, they had the backstage set. Damien said Veer's the next. No, he's not Damien. Don't you ever say that about Veer. Jay, we're not going to show you any great Khali matches because there's nothing to really show you. In short, so I can get back on topic here, the Great Khali was like a 7'2" Indian monster, who's
he actually played a couple of movies.
Monster. and he couldn't wrestle.
I remember Khali because he was in a couple of movies. In fact, I think he was in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, he was. Yes, he was in that movie. But yeah, he was 7 foot, couldn't do nothing, could barely walk to the ring, let alone wrestle. But no, Veer is nothing like the Great Khali. Just because I don't know if they are the same nationalities or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Jamie, get out of here. But back to the match. Like you'd mentioned, he attacked him backstage, and basically just AJ was pissed off. Came out the gates. It was a good, like I said, it was a very good match up until the lights went off, and there was that purple glow, that purple lighting that is getting accustomed to Edge and his group now. And then he just kind of looked up into the rafters, and his eyes got all wide, and that was it. I mean, there was no winner. It was a no contest. And I mean, I feel like we're going to need a promo. We're going to need I don't know what happened, Jay. I feel like we need an explanation for sure. And we'll probably get one next Monday, I would hope, because that was very, I know that they did do some abnormal stuff, some spiritual stuff. Obviously, I mean, look at The Undertaker. But, I mean, that was a little bit off, way out of left field. So we'll see.
But then we kind of move along, right? And then we get Cody Rhodes comes out and he's going to go up against the Miz, you know, and you know, of course, you know, they first they have the meet in the middle of the ring, and he's going on Miz's show, and they're talking and whatever. Yeah, and of course, you know, Cody Rhodes kind of, you know, messes with Miz. They have some back and forth bantering, whatever.
It was pretty all right.
Yeah, and then you know,
set up the match.
Yeah, it did. It was a little promo for him, and then of course, then we get the actual fight itself, and you know, Cody Rhodes comes out and beats the Miz. You know, Miz put up a pretty good performance, but
it was overall a very good match. I feel, because I mean,
but I like how Seth Rollins comes out and just kind of watches the whole match.
Yeah,
and then you know, now they're gonna set up a match. It looks like going forward.
Yeah, they already said they're gonna go for round 2. Jay, what did you think of the attire for Seth Rollins last night? Was it as flashy as WrestleMania?
It still looks like curtains. Everything he wears looks like curtains.
Yeah, that is true. It looks like, I mean, it looked pretty comfortable. Not gonna lie, but I mean, the promo was nice. Cody Rhodes got about 10 times more pyro than anyone else on the show. Big deal. Like I said, good match though. I mean, both of them are veterans. They've been around the sport for a long time. Right Man won. Obviously, you knew Cody was going to win this. It's his first debut. It's his re-debut, his first match in 6 years, I believe. So I mean, you knew he was going to win. And yeah, at the next pay-per-view at WrestleMania Backlash, it looks like we're going to get Seth, and we're going to get Cody Part 2.
That should be interesting, especially since Seth says now there's no mystery behind it. Now I can kind of game plan for you and so forth.
Yeah, overall, I'm excited for that match again because that was one of the better matches at Mania for both nights.
All right, it was like I said, it definitely was one of the better ones because then you get the restroom break match. You know, you had Naomi who comes out and goes up against Liv Morgan. Of course, like I said, she makes short work of Liv Morgan. It doesn't even last that long. Naomi gets the win out of it. But honestly, like I said, it was more of a restroom break for me, honestly. And then we kind of just go into MVP and Omos versus Lashley. You know, it wasn't really so much of an actual competition. It was more It was just more like Lashley was in the middle of the ring talking and stuff, and then MVP comes out and starts saying, well, you know, his same old thing, like, you know, you didn't get anywhere without me. I'm the one that made you, blase, and you know, and then Lashley kind of comes back and says, you know, hey, if you know, once I beat the big giant, I'm coming for you. And then you see MVP kind of fade to the background behind Omos as to hide.
Yeah, talking about the women's match, it went like 2 minutes. I mean, to be honest, Jay, it wasn't that bad of a match. They were doing a lot. They were you could tell they were cramming a lot into it, though. I felt like if they gave more time, it would have been better, but they were very short on time. But I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad match. It wasn't like they were just out there messing everything up. It was just very short. And then they were going to have MVP's talk show with Lashley. Or no, it's going to be MVP's talk show with Omos, but then Lashley came out beforehand in gear. I don't know why he came out in gear. Jay wasn't wrestling. Maybe right. I don't. but he was just saying that, that MVP, we were friends and blah, blah, blah. He was saying that I helped resurrect your career. And MVP was like, no, I helped resurrect your career, blah, blah, blah. And saying that Omos is the future. And it's looking like we're going to get a rematch between them, Jay, at WrestleMania Backlash. So we will see that. Also in the middle of all that, Jay, you forgot to mention we saw Kevin Owens backstage.
That's right. Yeah.
About Ezekiel.
Yes. You're talking about Urias, that he's not. Yeah. That Ezekiel is not, or Urias is not Ezekiel. Ezekiel is Urias.
Elias.
Yeah.
So next week we will get a lie detector test on Monday Night Raw to prove if Elias is Ezekiel or if he's not, if he is the younger brother. I did think it was good though, Jay, where he was saying he's like I need to see his driver's license, his birth certificate, his library card. He's like that's confidential. I'm like, his library card. So I mean that was good though. That was good. It's Jay. I don't care much. I mean, I'm right there keeping on going with this. We saw the Raw debut of Tommaso Ciampa backstage talking about it a little bit, like Damian said.
Yeah,
he didn't wrestle, but he was backstage, so we'll see how he plays a part into all this. Let's see what we had up next. Let me see. Give me one sec here. Oh, yes. Jay, you forgot the 24/7 bachelor party.
That's right. Golly. Well, I was right. I was giving the short version. Yeah, there was a bachelor party.
I mean, you don't need to watch it. It ain't worth it. There's a double wedding next week. Enough. All right, next.
It was a really poorly drawn out soap opera scene in there, and it was terrible.
Yeah, no, that's some of the bad comedy, the bad stuff you get with wrestling.
But we did kind of move into Bianca though. Bianca who goes up against the Queen, and then she beats the Queen. But the interesting part was. And of course, Sonny DeMille talks to Pierce and says, "Hey, I know who I want Bianca's first match to be against." Yeah. And he's basically asking her who it is, and she won't tell him. And of course, she keeps it a secret. But then, of course, she comes out to the ring and tells Bianca that basically she's got her new opponent. And then she kind of starts describing her, and then they start to wait for her. And then DeMille is behind Bianca. Bianca's looking to see who comes out. And then, of course, DeMille then attacks Bianca from behind, beats her up a little bit, and then tells her it's me. And then, of course, she has her sign an open-ended match, and then she attacks her. And of course, now that DeMille is going to be her first opponent to defend her title against.
Yeah, Sonya used to be. I mean, she is a wrestler. Obviously, it's just I can't remember why she hasn't been on air because it's been a while since she's had an actual match. So yeah, Sonya Deville getting back in the ring, fully turning into a bad guy, right? Adam Pearce was like, "Why are you doing this?" Blah blah blah, and so we'll get a match at the pay-per-view for those two for the Raw Women's Championship, and we'll see where it goes from there. Also, another segment we learned that next week Austin Theory has changed his name just to Theory. And he is getting a shot at the U.S. title next week. So we will see how that goes.
Yeah,
thoughts on the name change. And by name change, I mean just dropping the first name because they do this quite often.
I don't know. I liked Austin Theory. I thought it had a good ring to it.
Frankie said it was stupid.
He said that he changed his name to Theory?
Yeah, Frankie said it was stupid that they got rid of the name Austin. Now he's just Theory. It's not the worst, but I mean, come on.
Either way, I was more of a fan of the original version than what they stripped it down to. I wasn't really.
Fair. But at least they didn't change it to nothing just out of nowhere, right? To be fair.
And then of course, and then we had the Arcade Bros come out against Alpha Academy. They beat Alpha Academy. They beat Alpha Academy, and then of course, as you saw on SmackDown, where the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns says that the Usos need to go to Raw and claim their tag team championship and unify the belts if they want to get more acclamation or whatever and bring it to the bloodline. So then, of course, obviously they show up on Monday Night Raw and they tell Arcade Bros that they want to challenge them for the belts so they can unify the titles. And then, of course, Lord, who shows up? The Street Profits. Yep. And your boy Montez Ford says, hey, wait a minute. We're next in line for this championship, so that's not going to happen. So then what happens? They have Street Profits challenge Usos to see who will then go up against RK Bro. And it was a pretty good match. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, they put it on them, and they put it on. I mean, hey, listen, it went back and forth for a hot minute. Same, different slams and different suplexes and things of that nature. But ultimately, the Usos came away with the win, and are going to be going up against RK Bro for that reunification of the belts. Logan.
Yep. Talking about the Alpha Academy and RK Bro, pretty decent match, but I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, we've seen it like 3-4 times in the last 3-4 weeks. So they definitely need something to freshen that up. And then, like you said, the Usos came out. The Usos are SmackDown Tag Champs, trying to get the Raw Tag titles. Street Profits came out. They had a good match. It went longest match on the show at about 15 or so minutes, I believe. And overall, like I said, I kind of figured the Usos were going to win because they're trying to get the titles. So yeah, good match. And then you see at the end of the show to end it that they're all staring at each other in the ring, holding up their tag titles, and that was the end of Raw. But I mean, overall, it was decent. Really,
it did have some good highlights in there.
Yeah, the only kind of highlights that I liked were I liked the Miz and Cody stuff. Both of those were good. The promo and the match. The Usos and the Street Profits was really good. Veer, I'm interested to see what's going on with that. And that's about all I can think of at the moment. I like like I said, I like the Styles and Priest match up until it ended. If that had a clean finish, or if that would have ended in a different way that wasn't so
I wasn't really a big fan of the Styles and Priest match. I honestly, I just really was, and I think it's just the way it ended, or the way I don't know.
Yeah, the ending soured it for me. But I mean, I don't think it wasn't as good as last week's show. I don't believe, but I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've seen in the world. We'll see how it is next week, Jay, because like you said, we do get the double wedding. So that will that's the real big highlight going into next week's show.
Yeah, that should definitely be interesting. All right, we're gonna keep this bad boy rolling. And one too many. NBA play-in games preview. As you can see, I was gonna give you a breakdown of the game. And right now we got Brooklyn up 32-20. Over Cleveland. And here's the interesting part about that, Logan. We'll just break it down, me and you, game by game.
All right, let's do it.
The first one, like I said, obviously we're watching Cleveland and Brooklyn, where Cleveland is, like I said, 12 points up. Yeah. About 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the game, or in the first quarter. If you look at Cleveland, they don't have Jared Allen tonight. Yeah. So that's kind of bad for them. But then again, Brooklyn doesn't have Simmons either, so I don't know. But they don't really have. They haven't had Simmons all year, so I don't think it really affects Brooklyn a whole hell of a lot. The game is in Brooklyn, and the interesting part, I guess, for me, is that Cleveland is 1-4 against Brooklyn. So honestly, if they're 1-4 against Brooklyn, they don't have one of their best players in Jared Allen out on the floor. And currently Brooklyn is up 18 points going into the second quarter. I think we could pretty much say, hey, Cleveland, you did a good job. You put up a valiant effort this year. But I honestly don't think this game is going to pan out for them. I think Brooklyn is going to escape out of here and go into the next round of the play-in.
Yeah, it ain't looking too hot for Cleveland at the moment. Brooklyn came out shooting the lights out, right? They're looking really good. I mean, when you score almost 40 points in the first quarter, something's going right.
Right.
I mean, looking at the box score real quick for the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving is cooking. He is in his bag. Perfect 5 for 5 from the field, 11 points and 4 assists so far. Kevin Durant doing his thing as well. Perfect shooting, 8 points and 6 assists. So they are moving the ball. Durant's also got 2 blocks, which is key. But I mean, they're doing their job. Like I said, I'm surprised, Jay. The leading, the guy who's taking the most shot attempts is Bruce Brown with 8. I mean, I feel like
that's interesting. That's interesting. Bruce Brown is your leading shooter. That tells me a lot right there.
He shot the most. He's 3 of 8, so he's not shooting the best. He does have 7 points. But I am surprised he's taking the most shots at the moment. Yeah, Brooklyn is doing really good, shooting almost 70% from the field at the moment. in the first quarter. Looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers, their leading scorer is Darius Garland, 3 of 6 shooting, not too bad. No assist, 1 assist, but he does have 2 turnovers, which leads the team. But otherwise than that, they just cannot get anything to fall. Only shooting 36% from the field, 14% from 3, and that's 1 of 8. And they've missed a couple of free throws. They are 5 of 8. If they want to get back in this game, Jay, I think the keys need to be hit some more of your free throws. You can't let them go. As good as Brooklyn's hitting right now, you can't afford to miss any shots. They're also getting out-rebounded by double. Brooklyn has 14, and Cleveland only has 7. Like you said, missing Jarrett Allen is hurting them a lot at the moment, and we don't know if he's going to be back for the next game. But hopefully it does, because if this is going to continue the way it is, I see Brooklyn winning these first 2 games and easily moving on into the next round.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm looking at the field goal, how well they're shooting, and you look at like Kyrie Irving, and he's 5 for 5, 1 for 1 by the 3-point line for 11 with 4 assists. So Kyrie Irving, in his 11 minutes is saying, "Hey, look, I'm here to play tonight, fellas. I hope y'all are too." Yeah. And then I look at Durant. Durant's 3 for 3. 2 rebounds, 6 assists himself for 8. So, he's off. He hasn't missed a shot yet. So I think Durant just needs to take more shots. Kyrie Irving, he's doing okay, but Durant needs to take more shots. Drummond's got about 4 boards. I think when it's all said and done, Drummond will probably have about 14 or 15 boards. He's got 6 points, 3 of 5 shooting. So, yeah, man, I think the Nets are coming out. They're firing at the ball. They're hitting with really good field goal percentages. You got Kyrie Irving and Durant, all shooting the ball well. They're not missing shots right now. So, man, when those 2 guys heat up, and then you got Drummond getting the boards, I mean, they're going to be – and, of course, you don't have Jarrett Allen, one of your better defenders and better shooters, or one of the better shooters. I mean, that's gonna be a lot. And I just don't know that they're going to have enough to contend. They're already, like I said, they're down by 20 going into the second quarter. So they are severely behind.
It's off to a rough start. It really is. And before we go to the next game, Jay, I just want to clarify for everyone watching out there how the play-in tournament works. You can see on the screen here, right? So let's go with – we are 7-8 right now. Brooklyn 7, Cleveland 8. The loser of this game at the moment, it would be the Cavaliers. They go on to face the winner of the Atlanta Hawks and Charlotte Hornets, who go and play tomorrow night. And then the winner of that advances, and they will be the 8th seed in the playoffs. As for whoever wins this game between Brooklyn and Cleveland, looking like Brooklyn, the winner automatically advances into that 7 seed slot. And the same thing goes for the other side in the West. New Orleans and San Antonio play tomorrow, I believe. Like I said, the winner of that goes on to face the loser of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Los Angeles Clippers matchup. And the winner of the Clippers and Timberwolves moves on to face the Memphis Grizzlies as the 7th seed. And the winner of the Pelicans and the Spurs goes on against the Timberwolves, or the Clippers goes on to face the number 1 seed, the Buzzsaw, in the Phoenix Suns. So that is how the play-in works. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm liking the format, Jay. I'm not going to. It adds a little bit more of just it's more basketball, right? And I mean, it's always nice to see. I don't care if it's like, oh, why are these teams in here? They're barely above 500, or they're not even 5. You know what I mean? I don't care. That's how you get March Madness, right? I mean, that's how you see.
No, I get that too. I get that too.
On hot runs.
I think I just feel if I'm Brooklyn, it almost behooves me to lose, beat whoever comes out of and try to win the 8th seed and go. I would rather go up against Miami than go up against Giannis in Milwaukee.
And that's kind of the advantage that the 7 and 8 seeds have, is the loser still advances to play another game. And then if you win that one, right? So let's just say hypothetically, Jay, the Nets lose this game, and they go and face the winner of the Hawks and the Hornets. So we'll just say the Hawks win, right? And so then the winner of that goes on to face Miami at 8, and then, I mean, if you win this game right out, if Brooklyn wins this, you go on and you're going to face the Celtics. That's who number 2 seed is right now, is the Celtics. So it's really just pick your poison, Jay. Either you lose, you have to win another one to stay alive, and then you face number 1 in Miami. Or if you just win it straight up, you go and face Boston. I mean, I would rather go. I mean, these are. I mean, there's a reason they're 1-2, but I don't know who you ever face in the playoffs because I mean, Tatum can get hot, and then it's Miami, right? I mean, they almost won the championship 2 years ago, and they got Jimmy Butler and all those guys, so it's going to be a tough matchup, honestly, in the East. Because I mean, the East is the better conference this year. Don't get it twisted.
And that's my thing. I feel like if I'm Brooklyn, I don't know that Andre Drummond is going to be enough to deal with Giannis, and I'm kind of worried about that. So I almost kind of feel like
that's it. Yeah. Oh, my bad. It is Milwaukee. I'm looking at.
Yeah, Milwaukee's going to have to play. Obviously, whoever Milwaukee plays against in the 7th seed, they're going to win. I'm sorry. I just feel Milwaukee. Milwaukee is in my opinion, is the toughest team in the East right now. So I would rather see Milwaukee go up against as much people as I can before I have to face them. And maybe there's a couple of injuries that go down. I don't know. And then maybe we get past. I don't know. I'm just saying. I like my chances better going the Miami route at the 8th seed, and because I know my team is good enough to go through the rest of those teams and go the 8th seed route, then go the 7th seed route, and possibly get kicked out the first round, or most likely get kicked out the first round. Because let's be honest, they don't have an answer for Giannis, and Milton and Drew Holiday. They're going to show up, and I don't know. It's going to be a lot for them to take on, brother.
Yeah, like I said, it will be interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, is Milwaukee the 2 seed? Because I'm looking now, and they got
Milwaukee's a 2 seed. I'm pretty sure Milwaukee.
Hold on.
Maybe I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
We might have the wrong graphic. Maybe. Let me show you.
Yeah, I might have it. Well, I took the graphic off of Google, and that was the most current graphic they had. And I did look at all the playing teams, and all the playing teams are right. So I figured it was right. But they may have it wrong.
I see it here, Jay. Hold on. I see it right here. Okay, so Boston is the 2 seed. Milwaukee is the 3 seed. That's what it is.
Okay, so is that the only difference? Is the 2 and the 3 seed?
Yes. Everything else is correct for both sides.
Okay, so either way, so basically Milwaukee's going up against Chicago, and Boston's going to go up against whoever the 7th seed is. Either way, it doesn't change my approach to it. I still would rather go the 8th seed route and take the winner of the Philly-Toronto game, if I'm Brooklyn.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. Like you said, Brooklyn right now is just stomping a mud hole. But to be fair, the Cavaliers are trying to make a decent comeback. It is 26-40 with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter. We'll keep you updated. Jay, let's move on to the other games. We got
absolutely. So the other game is a second of the double hitter this evening. I believe that game goes on around 9:00, and that's going to be the Clippers in Minnesota. And it might be it's on TNT. Yeah, both games are on. If you're watching both games, if you want to watch it, both games are on TNT. And Clippers and Minnesota are going to be the second game this evening. And they do, like I said, right now they got George back. We don't know if Kawhi is ever going to make a return this year. I don't think he does. I know Pride kind of put it out there, or kind of hit it around that Kawhi could possibly make it, but I don't think he does. Either way, he won't be there tonight. So you got George. So you got Cat and Edwards have got to step up. Beverly needs to bring back that staunch defense if they're going to have a chance at the Clippers. Because let's be honest, Minnesota's down 3-4 against the Clippers. So the Clippers own the Minnesota T-Wolves. So and the game is going to be played in LA. So Minnesota, even though they had the great Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverly at the point, they're going to have their hands full with Robert Covington and Zubac and the rest of this Clippers team. Logan, what do you think about it?
It's going to be interesting, right? Because you get Paul George back. You got to wonder how he's going to show up in the playoffs. If we're going to see a good Paul George or a bad Paul George, it just kind of depends. As for the Timberwolves, I mean, Jay, they haven't done nothing in their franchise, to be honest. They have not made it far in the playoffs.
Not since Garnett was there.
Right, and that's been 15, 20 years. It's time to move on.
Oh, at least.
It is time to move on. This is probably the best core that the Timberwolves have had in a while, like you mentioned, with Edwards and with Cat. But, I mean, I've said the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves, Jay. I don't think they're going to go super deep, but I expect them. I think they're going to win this game. I think that they have some of the best offense in the league. They shoot really well. They shoot about 47% from the field, and they're really efficient. Plus, they finish with a pretty good record of 46-35.
Yeah.
I think that Cat's going to have a good game. He's going up against Zubac, right? And they're going to have that rebounding battle. As for points, we'll see too, because, I mean, the Clippers have a lot of guys on their roster who have had good postseasons, like Reggie Jackson, like Luke Kennard. It just kind of depends on how they're going to be this time, and see how they can go with it. And let's not forget, too, the Timberwolves also have D'Angelo Russell, who I feel like people kind of just forget about is even on the roster.
Right.
But this is going to be played in Minnesota. Interesting fact that the Clippers have a losing record on the road at 17-24. So we'll see if that comes into effect. And currently the Timberwolves are the favorite to win this game, -2.5. Over under is 230.5.
That's interesting. So I thought the game was played at the Clippers, but you're right. Yeah, God, it is Minnesota. You're right. Wow. So they're going to have to go on the road.
They get the home team advantage, those Minnesota, and they're going to need it, I think.
Yeah, in my mind, for some reason, I had the Clippers playing at home. I don't know why I was thinking that. I guess here's the deal, though. I really believe what it's going to come down to is, Paul George last year in the playoffs, when Kawhi went down, Paul George stood up in a big way. And he played phenomenal basketball. And the Clippers were actually fairly competitive and very tough to play. So he's going to have to be that same Paul George last year in the playoffs, this year again, if they want to survive the T-Wolves.
Yeah, and,
but like I said, you've only lost one.
Yeah. Also, Jay, I mentioned Luke Kennard. He's actually out tonight, so they are losing one of their prominent three-point shooters for the game. I mean, who are you going with? You going with Timberwolves or you going with Clippers? I got the Timberwolves.
I'm riding the Clippers trail, man. I just think the Clippers, I feel like, I feel like they've done enough this year to prove that they can beat Minnesota. And like I said, if Paul George, if he could be the reminiscent Paul George of last year's playoffs, I think that they take it. So, but Karl Anthony Towns, boy, woo, man, that's a tall order to go up against. I don't care.
I hope this is going to be a better game. I think it's more evenly matched than the current game going on with Brooklyn and Cleveland. So, I mean, I hope this one's a close game, Jay. I really do. I think this will kind of be a back-and-forth battle, at least for the games tonight. But let's go over to the Eastern Conference.
Tomorrow night, the first game is going to be Charlotte versus Atlanta. Your boys are on stage tomorrow. Hey, you know what? They're 2-2. They've split the series, and the game obviously is, I believe, is it in Atlanta?
Let me see real quick.
I think Atlanta does have the better record, so I'm almost positive the game's in Atlanta.
Yes, it is in Atlanta. 7 o'clock.
So
tomorrow night.
For Atlanta, you don't have John Collins. He's out with a finger and foot injury, but then again, Charlotte doesn't have Gordon Hayward because he's out with a foot injury as well. So each team has one of their starters out with an injury. I think that your boy, is it Gallinari? Is he the guy that's behind guys behind Collins to take over at that spot?
Yeah, he would be the guy to get more minutes, yeah.
So Gallinari is going to have to step up and continue to and fill the void of Jason Collins. I personally think I think Atlanta takes this game tonight. I think LaMelo does a great job. I think the Charlotte puts up a good fight, but I just think that Atlanta is going to be too much. Trae Young is just lighting it up offensively, and Clint Capella is still getting a good amount of rebounds. They're playing at home. I just think this is Atlanta, and I think they go on to the next.
I think this is two things happen, Jay. Either one, Atlanta comes out and they just play phenomenal offense because they do struggle with defense. But that is where I think the big part is going to come in, and that is with Mr. Clint Capella. He's going up against one of the Plumlees, Mason Plumlee to be exact. I think Capella is going to dominate him on the boards, and I think that's going to be a big factor. If the offense is not hitting, that's going to be key. But if the offense is clicking for the Hawks, man, I think it's going to be an easy win. But if it's not, they're going to have to play gritty, and they're going to have to play some tough defense. So we'll see how it goes. Of course, I'm going with the Hawks to get the W in this one. But the Hornets, this is their second year in the play-in because I believe they were here last year against Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like I don't know, man, the Hornets need a couple of more pieces, and they could get something going.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I just feel like I think the boys in Atlanta are going to pull it out tonight. But then we move on to the last game of the evening for tomorrow. That's the Spurs versus the Pelicans. Excuse me. And the Spurs are leading that series 3-1.
Yep, this is in New Orleans, by the way.
Yeah, the game's going to be in New Orleans. So they're going to have to go up a pretty good shooting C.J. McCollum. And I tell you, man, I'm not going to go against Pop on this one. I'm not going against Pop. I'm going to ride the Spurs in this one, Logan.
This is a tough one, honestly, because, I mean, these are two teams, pretty even records. Only 2 games separate them. Both teams have losing records on the road and at home. The Pelicans are 19-22 at home. The Spurs 18-23 on the road. But like you mentioned, how they were in the regular season, man, I might rock with the Pelicans, Jay. I don't know. I just think that I kind of envision a good game from Brandon Ingram. I think that he could have one of those games where you kind of look at it and be like, oh, actually, my bad, he's out. All right, well. ESPN just took the words out of my mouth. Forget that then. He said he has a hamstring injury. So he might.
Maybe if they do bring him in, they're definitely going to do load management, probably keep him in for a few minutes.
Yeah. You know what? Screw it. I'm still going to go with the Pelicans. I said I'm not going to take it back just because of an injury, Jay. I'm not going to do that. They got Valanciunas on the boards, right? He's having a really good season, honestly. Almost 18 points and 11 or 12 rebounds a game. So I'm going to go with the Pelicans in this one. But I mean, honestly, to me, this is a toss-up. I don't have a bone in this fight, but I just got a feeling I'm going to go with the Pelicans and Coach Green.
Well, there you have it, folks. That is our look at the play-in. I think we're going to see a lot of really good, hard-fought basketball between tonight and tomorrow. And I really think the biggest team I really want to see how well they play is Atlanta. I want to see, is Atlanta, are they still the real deal or are they just, I think they beat Charlotte, but I want to see how well they play against Charlotte. So I'll find that out tomorrow night and see how that goes. Right now, quick score update before we get on to the next topic is Cleveland is down 44-31. So Brooklyn is still very much in control of this game with about 4.5 left to play.
Yeah.
All right. Embiid claims the scoring title. And of course, Doc Rivers says, I don't think people realize how hard it is for a center to lead the NBA and scoring. And to Doc's to what Doc is saying, I agree with him. The last time a center won the scoring title was Shaquille O'Neal, and I don't have the year that he won it, but Shaquille O'Neal was the last time.
99 or 2000, I'm sure.
Oh, it's probably the early 2000s,
late 90s, 1 or 2.
But that was the last time. I'm so nervous for these playoffs, man. I just want my team to finally win. Iverson Vlogs, remind me one more time in the comments who your team is. I forgot who your team was, brother.
He's got – I don't know. I'm kind of confused because his name is Iverson Vlogs. You would think it would be the Sixers, right? But his profile picture is the Phoenix Suns. So I'm assuming it's
most likely it's probably Phoenix Suns then.
If I had to go with that.
Hey, I'll tell you, man, Phoenix is looking damn good. I would not be – I've said it all along, and I will say it again. This is Phoenix's year to win the ship. If they don't win it this year, I'm never going to get behind Phoenix again when my Rockets aren't in the playoffs. Okay, when my Rockets aren't in it, I feel like I try to find the whatever. But how does this not Phoenix's best chance? I'll never know. But again, Utah had the best record in the league too, and of course they lost. But I'm not saying Phoenix is Utah, but just because you're number one in the NBA doesn't necessarily mean you come away with a title. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, back to Embiid. Embiid is averaging about 30.6 points. That's what he's averaging, 30.6 for the season. And like I said, he's the first center since Shaq to come away with the crown. So I'm really happy to see a big man take the scoring title. LeBron, he just didn't play enough games to even qualify. I think he had to get like 57 or 58 games. I think LeBron came in right at like 56. But he was probably the closest one to derail Embiid at 30.3 points. And I think if LeBron had a full season, I think possibly it's a good chance that he catches Embiid or beats Embiid and takes the crown. But then you have Giannis, who obviously didn't play in the last game of the season. He came in at 29.9. But I got to be honest with you, man. I really feel in my heart of hearts, Joker came in at 27.1 with 8 assists. And I feel like those 8 assists took a lot of chances away from him being able to get to that 30, 31-point range. And I feel like if Joker wasn't if he wasn't such a team guy, and contributing to all the other aspects of the game, that he probably could have gave Embiid a really serious run at that. So Embiid, I know you got the scoring title, but for those reasons, I'm putting a small asterisk next to it because I feel like Joker gave up that scoring title, because of the assists and things of that nature. I'm rolling with that. Logan, your thoughts?
Jay, I don't care about Joel Embiid because you know why? He is not my scoring champion. Do you know who is the scoring champion, Jay? I don't care about points per game. I care about how many points he scored in the season. And you already know who got that one. Trae Young. Trae Young led the league in scoring.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
I don't care about points per game. How many points did you score cumulatively throughout the entire season? And you know what else, Jay? He also led the league in assists. So, congrats, Joel. You averaged the most points per game, but you didn't have the most points in a season. I mean, I don't know how that works, Jay. I'm just saying. I feel like if Embiid or Jokic or Jan, if they did what Trae was doing, we'd all be having streamers coming out of the windows right now,
right?
And it would be up in arms. So I'm just saying. I mean, congrats to Joel. You got the most points per game. Obviously, you had a great year, but I'm putting that asterisk next to it too. I'm just saying.
I love it. I love it when we're in agreement. I don't know what's so weird. I wonder if Pride was on this show. Because Pride is always a real good objectional debater kind of guy. I wonder if he would go along with it. I kind of feel like he would. I do. I feel like Pride
you can't debate it, Jay. You can't because
no, I get it.
You won a points per game award, right? Let's get that right. I feel like they need to change this from scoring title to average title in terms of what you average.
Right, because points per game. I think when instead of being scoring title, it should be points per game title. Even though that doesn't sound as sexy of a way to say it, that's really what it is. Points per game average.
Right, because I mean, if you look at it, right. Let me see. Hold on one sec. So this current season. I'm just saying, man, look, when you look at it, Joel Embiid did leave it in points per game. Trae Young was, I think, second or third in points per game. He's also third in assists per game. So he's not going to win any of those titles, even though he's done something that's never been done since like the 70s with Tiny Archibald. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And I feel the same way. I feel like I have no problems with Trae Young taking the scoring title because at the end of the season, he had the most points. So I have no problem with that. I think some of this, and I've always said that, I feel like some of these awards are a little bit skewed.
We got Damien chiming in saying the Suns are going to choke like always.
I don't think they do.
Them all the like they did with Duke. You can't compare NBA and college. Come on. He said this would be more impressive if he could do it all season and be. He was healthy. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's not like he missed a month or two of action. He played. Let me see how many games did he play this year? Give me one sec, ladies and gentlemen. I'm checking this out. So Joel Embiid played 68 games. That's a career high. He played 68 games out of 82. So yeah, he played in the career high games this year, Damien. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about Simmons now. Could he return to the Nets in round one?
I don't think he should. I don't think he should. What's the point, Jay? Really, what is the point?
You know what? Hey, listen, we were talking about this earlier, and I get it, Logan. The argument that I made was, listen, he comes back. He hasn't played in 2 years. He doesn't really fit into your system quite yet because he hasn't played any games with them. So how do you know the chemistry is going to be there? And then Pride basically made the point of, well, he's probably going to play a role player's role. So he's not going to do, all he's going to do is go out there and play defense. I think he gets 12 to 15 minutes if he comes back. They're going to load management the crap out of him. But I still feel like I just don't see Simmons making a big impact. And so why not bring him in next year? But you are paying him, Logan. At the end of the day, you're paying this man whether he plays or he doesn't. So you can also make the argument, hey, if you're getting paid, you need to have your ass out there on the court.
I don't think he's going to play because, like you mentioned, Jay, he has no chemistry with these guys. He hasn't been practicing. He's been hurt. He hasn't played an NBA game in over a season. And, I mean, if anything, he would just be a liability on the court. I'm not saying that he's a great defensive player, don't get me wrong.
I agree.
But that, like you mentioned, he would only take maybe 5 shots a game at most. All of them would be layups. I don't see him coming out this season. I don't see him. I mean, if he does, I'll be shocked, honestly, because I don't expect him to play this season. I expect him to take off the rest of this year, to come back to rehab in the offseason, and to come back fresh in 2023. I just don't see it this year. If he does, more power to him. I don't see it working at the moment. Damon said, I think he should play in the playoffs just to prove all the haters they were wrong about him. I mean, that is an option. He could just come out and play in the first round and absolutely light the world on fire. But I mean, personally, I don't see it happening. I'm just saying.
Last comment I want to make on this, and we're going to go on and talk about these Dodgers and Bellinger's issues. Is I feel like. With Simmons, if all he does is come out and play defense, that's all they really need from him. Look, don't worry about gelling. Don't worry about trying to score points. You just come out and play defense, and for 15 minutes, whatever it is, and we're good because he really is a good defender. They got plenty of shot callers with Curry and Durant and Irvin. They don't need him. All they need is Andre to get the rebounds and Simmons to come in and play defense, and you're good. Anyway, moving on. Should the Dodgers worry about Bellinger's struggles? Well, you know what? I say no. I say no for a reason. If you really are concerned about Bellinger and his numbers, then you might want to be concerned about a few others. Muncie's batting 77. Betts is batting 214. And our boy, Logan's boy, Freeman is batting 167.
To be fair, though, Jay, this is only 4 games in.
No. Listen. I'm not trying to like kick Freeman in the balls. No, I'm making the point of it is that you can't really worry about Bellinger so much when you got other players of his caliber that are struggling just right along with him. And I don't think it's really a struggle, like Logan said. We're only 4 games into it, and that was my next point, Logan, was that it's too early to tell with Bellinger. It's just way too early. He's had 11 at-bats. He's got 1 run, 2 hits at a 182 average, and the Dodgers are at 4th place at 1 and 2, and it's not just Bellinger that got him into that place at 1 and 2. It's everybody collectively, I think, having a slow start. I don't think it's struggling. I don't think Bellinger is struggling. I just think that he's coming off on a slow start, and I think he will heat up. I don't see Cody Bellinger staying at 182. So no, I don't think we should be panicking or anything like that. The Dodgers just need to get off to a little bit quicker start and maybe take some better pitches and things of that nature. But no, I'm not worried about Cody Bellinger. Logan?
I'm not pressing the panic button yet, but if this is still going downward at the All-Star break, I might be. Mm-hmm. And I say that, Jay.
Right.
2019, MVP lit the world on fire, tremendous year, led the league in total bases with 351. Also was intentionally walked 21 times, led the league. That's how you know how feared this guy was. Batted 305, had 115 RBIs, 47 home runs. Tremendous season, rightfully won the MVP. 2020, had a slump, batted 239 only, a 333 on-base percentage, and only a 455 slugging. So a little bit down. On the year, he only had 30 RBIs, 12 home runs. We all know it was a shortened season. all in all. So you're like, okay, that's not too bad. Then last year, 2021, a horrific year, a horrible year, Jay. 95 games, right? He got up to the plate 350 times. So like I said, still not as much as previous seasons, but still. 52 hits on the year, 10 home runs, 36 RBIs, 94 strikeouts, which, I mean, he did struggle with strikeouts early in his career, but he has cut down on them a good bit. But Jay, a 165 batting average for the season. I get it was in 95 games, but that is putrid. A 240 on base percentage, a 302 slugging, and he was only walked 31 times as opposed to 95 in his MVP season. Like I said, I get the lesser games are a fact too. But
yeah,
man, I don't get how.
I'm sorry.
I don't remember recent memory how someone who let's not forget he won Rookie of the Year and he's a former MVP, how he struggled so much because he was really good in the playoffs last year. He had a really good playoff last year. He batted, let me see. Last year in the NLCS, he batted .412. In the NLDS, 267. The wild card, 500. In the World Series, he did struggle, though. He batted 136. For the entire series, he was, let me see here. He had 22 at-bats. Yeah, he was 3 of 22. So, I mean, this has been going on for a while, Jay. And, I mean, it's not like he's striking out a ton. It's just that he's not – the ball ain't falling at all for this guy. The powers went down.
You're right. Absolutely.
The bases are going down. I mean, it's not like he's getting – it's not like he gained a bunch of weight and he's just sluggish. I mean, it's just he is having a bad time out there, honestly. It is rough if you are Cody Bellinger. And I hope he gets out of it because, like I said, he is a very good player whenever he's on. But it does concern me, Jay. It is concerning me. Like I said, I'm not going full on what's going on here. But, I mean, if this continues, man, I think the All-Star break, I might have to think about doing something with him because it ain't looking good so far.
No, I totally agree with you. And like I said, I don't know if this is just strictly a Bellinger thing. I just think it's a whole team. I think it's a whole team thing. I mean, look, when you got Mookie Betts hitting 214, Mookie Betts is not a 214 hitter, but he's batting 214. So, I mean, you just got to take it for what it is. It's a slow start. I mean, Boston has a slow start. There's a lot of teams that have had a slow start. So.
We can't judge much of that. Like I said, it's only, 4 games in?
Yeah, that's 4 games.
Some guys don't get their first hit until 2 weeks in. I mean, look at Ohtani. Ohtani was giving CPR to his bat, Jay, because I think he was like 3 of 20. I'm just...
Before we segue into Sasaki, I just want to mention one thing real quick on a quick scoring update. The game has come to a half, and it's 57, I believe it is 44. And your boy Kyrie hits the halftime buzzer beater to take it out. So, hey Kyrie, boy, the boy came to play. I should say, boy, the man came to play.
Perfect 9 shooting with 20 points. You can't get much better than that. You cannot get better than that.
So Sasaki throws 19 Ks and gets the perfect game in Japan. Am I supposed to play the video?
Yeah, play the video, but the audio might be a little bit loud. I'm not sure, but just play the video and we'll see how it goes. How about that?
All right, here we go, folks. Oh, hold on. I gotta go to this thing.
Oh, Jay, we're having about time.
Second ゴロになりました。中村翔吾。
Yeah, there might be all the outs, but yeah, Jay, this is insanity. Roki Sasaki
honestly,
is
man.
nicknamed the Monster of Super young talent. He's how old is he here? He's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's young. Logan, this kid is young.
Yeah,
the catcher that he's throwing to is only 15.
Bro, Japanese baseball.
I mean, seriously, the catcher's only 15.
No, I believe you. I mean, like I said, Japanese baseball is insane, bro.
I tell you what, hey, listen, I had the ability to go see a Chiba. That's the team he plays for is Chibalote Dragons. And when I was stationed there in Japan, I went and saw a Chibalote baseball game, and it's so interesting watching the way Japanese fans respond to a baseball game versus the way Americans respond, because they're very quiet, not a whole lot of cheering, but they bang these little sticks together, these plastic sticks together. If you've never seen a Japanese game, Google it. You can probably go to YouTube and watch it, but it's a very interesting experience. But anyway, yeah, Sasaki. It was a 16th perfect game in Japan League history. He's a righty, like I said, for Chiba Lotte, and he struck out 13 consecutive batters, which is a Japanese record. And he beat Oryx. They beat the Oryx Buffaloes, and he actually has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, as well as a really devastating forkball. And to get this win, this perfect game, this 19 strikeouts, this 13 consecutive strikeouts, he threw a whopping 105 pitches and no walks. I'm telling you, I'm going to say this, Logan. If I'm the Astros, I'm on the first plane out. And I'm going to find this kid, and I'm going to do everything I can to bring his butt to the Houston Astros pitching.
Yeah. So talking more about him, Jay. Also, I see here the catcher was 18, so a little bit older.
Was he 18? Because I thought it was 15.
I see 18 here.
Okay. I may be wrong. I apologize. Okay, so he's 18. Okay, 3 more years. So that means he's got a few more pubic hairs. No big deal.
That's still a senior in high school or a freshman in college. So I'm looking here, Jay, and someone asked the question, is this the greatest perfect game ever pitched? And so they went a little bit more in depth into it here. Talking about the strikeouts here, between the NPB and the MLB, this was the most strikeouts in a perfect game ever thrown. In the MLB, the closest, Matt Cain had it in 2012, and Sandy Koufax, they each had 14. Sasaki had 19. He had 5 more. The previous
that means Japanese only 8 batters. That means 8 batters put the bat to the ball, and that's it. 8.
The whole game.
Wow.
The previous Japanese record was 16 set by Yoshiro Sotokoba of Hiroshima back in 1968. So it's been quite a while. But like you said, this is only the 16th perfect game in the league's history, since 1994. And dude, it was crazy. Like you said, he only took 105 pitches, which is insane too. Right. And I mean, you can't get a whole lot better than this. He's still super young. Like I said, this is only his kind of second year in the league. 2020, he came out. He was only in 3 games, so not a whole lot going on there. But so far, Jay, in 2021, right? He did solid 4-2 record, 83 innings pitched. And let me see here. Earned runs, only 17, 87 strikeouts. So, I mean, you can't get much better than that. I don't know. I think that's still their current season, 21-22. I'm not 100% sure. That's just what I'm seeing here on the website. But, I mean, give this guy maybe another season, maybe the rest of this season, maybe going into the next season, give one more. And there's definitely going to be a bunch of teams looking to sign him to a big money deal. Hopefully he can continue this success, because 19 strikeouts is impressive.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive.
A perfect game, that's even better. So,
and the fact that he's got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, he's got 100 mile an hours.
He's going to.
Logan, if you're Atlanta, do you go after him? I think if you're Atlanta, you do everything you can to get him.
Bro, if I'm any team in Major League Baseball, I'm going after him.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there right now. He's 20 years old. He's playing in Japan. I give him 3 years, maybe 4 years tops, because I don't know how long. I think he's on a 3-year contract with Chiba Lotte. But I give him 2 to 3 years, and I guarantee he's somewhere in the MLB playing.
I'm gonna say by the time he is 25, he will be on a major league roster. I think that teams are gonna see just how young he is and maybe kind of hold off.
Right.
I feel like they're gonna want to see him pitch a little bit longer, get a little bit more experience, see how it goes, and hopefully by the time he is 25, he will be signed, sealed, and delivered. Coming over to
I don't know, Logan. Hey, I got to be honest with you. Hey, if I'm the Astros, I'm stealing him as quickly as I possibly can. If it's 21, if it's 22, I throw him down in the minor leagues. I start him out at AAA, and give him a year or so at AAA and see how he does at AAA. And if he does well at AAA and he puts his kind of numbers up at AAA, I'm bringing his ass and throwing him in the lineup quick.
ASAP.
All right, folks, we're going to move on to the next topic. By the way, hey, Sasaki, man, hey, hell of a game, baby.
Hey,
hell of a game. That's a hard thing to do, brother.
Tremendous work.
Oh, and I hit the wrong button. There we go. Oh, no. There we go. Tiger finishes the Masters and commits to the Open. I think he should play in the playoffs just to prove all the haters they were wrong about.
Simmons.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, man, do you, baby, do you? I don't think that's gonna happen, but we'll see. All right, hey, we're gonna move on real quick, and we're gonna talk about Tiger at the Masters. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. You know how hard it is to walk 72 holes at the Masters, and you know that's amazing. Coming off of the leg, look, Logan, the leg injury that Tiger took was just devastating. I mean, you're talking about everything from the hip to the foot was just shattered and repaired, put back together. Look, I will tell you right now, Logan, I broke my femur, cracked my ankle, and broke my kneecap in a car accident when I was about 17. And it took me every bit of a year to get back to where I was normally at. And this guy's doing it and going, and he's at 46 years old, and then he's going to go play the freaking Masters as his first tournament out and walk 72 holes? Just incredible. I mean, just incredible. He said that his goal now is to play St. Andrews in July at the Open because it's the birthplace of golf, basically, and that's like one of the most dearest courses to his heart. He carded a 6 over 68 at the last 2 rounds of the thing. His worst rounds of his career at the Masters, honestly. But hey, let's be honest. Like I said, first year back, 46, shattered leg. I don't expect him to put up the best of numbers in the last 2 rounds, especially after you've been walking all those holes. That's going to take a wear and tear on you. He did have a limp after the first round, which obviously we talked about. The one under 71, he did lack energy, but his first round was basically a 70, which is good. I mean, like I said, over a year and you got all these injuries. So I mean, he came out, he did well. He did not get cut, so that's an improvement right there. I mean, the fact that you qualified. He ended the day 13 over, worst of 24 appearances. But like I said, folks, can you really blame it? 13 over, worst of his career. But at the same time, the man's 46. He came off a devastating leg injury. I mean, let's be honest. And he played at the hardest course in the States as his first tournament. So again, Tiger Woods is a genetic freak. And if you don't think he's a genetic freak, you go out there at 46 years old and do what he did. It's amazing. Just amazing. Logan, your thoughts?
Yeah, finished 77th. So way off of what I thought, because I didn't know his standing. I thought he would maybe get top 30. I was way off. My apologies, Tiger. But overall, like I said, very, very good tournament for him. Just to even come back was phenomenal. And hopefully he can continue this moving into the Open in a little while. And also, like I said, it's not on the topic, but shout out to Scotty Scheffler for getting the big win at the
Absolutely.
A -10. Phenomenal work. And hey, good job for him. And that's weird because we usually see we see in a bit, especially some of the majors, usually it's golf or NASCAR, right? Those are kind of the two sports where if you win a major tournament or a major race, you're kind of starting to get made a little bit. And I mean, I'm glad for Scotty, good for him. And hopefully he can continue his success the rest of the season. Looking good with getting that Masters jacket, though.
Hey, cool question. So Tiger at his advanced age of 46, and obviously, with the injuries that he has sustained in his life, he's only going to do the biggest major events. You're not going to see Tiger Woods out there on a day in, day out basis. He's going to hit probably the biggest majors that he can hit and just see what he can do. Let's be honest. I think he's at 15. I think Nicklaus is at 18. He needs 3 majors to tie 4 majors to be the number 1 guy.
A little tough.
I don't know, Logan, man. Hey, I don't think – I'll be honest with you, Logan. I do not personally think that he's going to eclipse Nicklaus. I don't even think he ties Nicklaus. I don't think he has the time left or the energy. But I do think, and I want to get your opinion is, let's be honest, if he just gets one more major, I would be happy. And I would love to see.
Yeah,
I think before he hangs it up, just kind of like Tom Brady had to do. I think he hangs it up after he gets one more major. What do you think, Logan? Do you think he gets another major even at that?
I would love to see him get one more. I think that'll be the max is one. I think just injuries, father time, all of this is kind of rolling into a ball. But I hope he gets one more. That would be a great story. I don't think he catches. I don't think he gets to the most all time. He, like you say, went that hot streak when he was young in his career. Then injuries got to him, back injuries, everything else got to him, unfortunately. But I feel like he can still produce. Like I said, I'm just glad he finished this time. And hopefully going into the Open in a little while, he can continue his success. Maybe a top 50 finish, Jay. Maybe that's his goal this next tournament, because he finished top 7 or he finished 77th. So maybe you can go. Maybe he can get a top 50 placement at the Open, and maybe just keep working his way up from there. I feel like that would be realistic for me personally if I was him.
All right, we're gonna go through the last couple of topics real quick. Name a trade you would like to see pulled off before the NFL draft. And me personally, I feel like DK Metcalf, his name has been thrown around a couple of times in terms of being on the trade block, this, that, and the other. I don't think Seattle with Drew Lock is going to do anything at all, to be honest with you. And they're not making any moves, trying to go get Baker or Jimmy G. So I think they're going to try to ride Drew Lock out. And, honestly, I think that the Seattle is almost in not a rebuild, but definitely – They got a lot of questions about that team for sure, and I think they slide down a lot in production. I think this year is going in the NBA draft, or not NBA draft, but going in the NFL season. Seattle's not going to look quite as good as they have in the past. Not that they've looked great. That they 7-something they had a losing season. So, that kind of just tells you where Seattle's going without Russell Wilson. So I think DK is probably on the trade block, and I would not mind seeing him go to a team like the Chiefs. I don't know if they give up Juju Smith-Schuster for DK, or if they give up Hardman for DK, or if they give up draft picks for DK. I don't know what that would look like, but I think the Chiefs, I think they desperately want to reclaim that offensive prowess, and I think DK would definitely do that for them. What trade would you like to see, Logan?
This is a tough one, Jay. So I went hunting around the internet, right? I was trying to see what all everyone was wanting to get traded, because we haven't seen a trade in a minute. It's been a little bit – it's been a little quiet. Well, just with the draft coming up, you can kind of expect it. And I went to our good friend, Jay, our good buddy, ex-Jet scout, Daniel Kelly. He's got a theory, Jay, and I want you to chime in on this one. Damien, before I give you my thought, Damien said Christian McCaffrey. Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Why not, right?
No doubt. But our boy DK has a theory, has a trade proposal. He didn't have all the players included. But he said that the New York Jets must trade for Deebo Samuel. Do you pull that off if you are the San Francisco 49ers?
No. Hell no. Deebo is your best weapon. Why would you get rid of your best absolute weapon? Look, you just came out of the playoffs. It's not like you're not still in playoff contention. So, I'll put it this way. If you get rid of Deebo, that means you're saying that you are in rebuild mode.
Let me say this, Jay. Let me say this. I see here in a Google article, the Jets have 4 picks in the top 38. They have picks 4 and picks 10. So, would you give up? I don't know about the 4, but would you give up that number 10 pick for Deebo and whatever else? Right? I mean, I'm not going to.
If I'm New York, would I give up 10 for Deebo? Yeah, in a heartbeat. Yes, I would.
I'm saying if you're the Niners, would you do that though?
No, I don't think I do, because I feel like Deebo is my best weapon, and if I get rid of my best weapon, that means that I'm saying that I think I'm in not so much rebuild mode, but I'm just not being competitive at this point, because Deebo he's a generational kind of guy. I mean, he can run the ball, he can receive it. I mean, Deebo is the reason why you went as far as you did in the playoffs. So I don't think you give up that type of guy.
Understandable. And also talk about Damien. I looked it up. I see just a scenario here, Jay. How about Christian McCaffrey to the Washington Commanders?
For who?
I think it said here just a first-round pick.
Yeah, I'd do that.
But they
I don't know.
haven't.
God, I don't know though, man. I mean,
because
because there's so many ways to look at that, right? I mean, just
yeah.
Gibson is still a good running back, right? Gibson's a good running back. He's not a bad running back. I think you need more wide receivers than you do running back help. I think wide receivers where you're lacking. So I don't know if, especially McCaffrey is a hurt kind of guy. I mean, has he proven he can stay healthy? Even though I know he's getting the bulk of the carries at Carolina. But man, I just don't know if McCaffrey gets you over the hump. I still think you need a wide receiver of some sort.
I see two here, Jay, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I want to get your thoughts. Just looking at some here. How about Baker Mayfield to the Seattle Seahawks?
Yes, that could. I mean, well, I tell you what, if he goes to Seattle Seahawks, that's going to be his testament. Because listen, let me tell you something. If you can't win with that pair of wideouts, you might as well just hang up your collective quarterback career.
Yeah, honestly. Damian said I would trade Raheem Mostert before I trade Debo. And he said McCaffrey can play wide receiver and running back. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Jay, how a running back transition into a wide receiver, because that's a very different position.
Right.
And then one more trade here I want to get your thoughts on, then we'll move on. Where'd it go? Oh, yes. The Tennessee Titans trade A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. If the Eagles need a wide receiver, they need someone else with Smith.
No, I agree. I get how that's good for Philly, but what does Tennessee get in return?
Let me skim this real quick. I know Philly. Oh, do the Eagles still? I wonder how many draft picks the Eagles still have after that trade with New Orleans. Let me see real quick. Let me see. They have. Okay, so the Eagles have 10 picks overall.
Jesus.
The Eagles have picks 18. Okay, so it's just picks 18 in the first round. But they also got that.
They got a lot of second, third, fourth, and fifth and stuff. They got later round picks.
They also have those future picks too. So,
no, I don't make that move to Philly. I don't. I'm not getting rid of A.J. Brown for a third round pick. And they don't have a wide receiver over there or any other player that I really feel like is going to make Tennessee a better team. So no, I hang on to A.J. Brown. Absolutely.
All right, those are some trade rumors I have been seeing on Google. So there you go.
All right, folks. We're going to get into the last topic of the evening. Which transfer portal quarterback is the one to watch? Logan, I'm really kind of torn in this one.
Okay,
I'm torn between JT Daniels and Spencer Rattler. I'm going to say probably more Spencer Rattler, and I'll tell you why. JT Daniels left Georgia, understandably, because he knew that he was going to get the quarterback position back from Stetson. So he felt like, he's got to still showcase his talents if he wants to improve his draft stock. So he's narrowed his three choices down to Oregon State, Missouri, or West Virginia. Now, listen, folks, neither of these teams, I'm not saying that he can't get noticed and get good draft stock, but if you're not in the SEC, it does kind of pull you back a little bit. But those are the three teams that he has narrowed it down to. He hasn't made a decision yet, but his 2021 stats were 68 of 94, 72% completion rate for 722 on the yardage, 7 TDs, and 3 picks. No, not bad numbers considering he didn't play a full season. So I think JT Daniels is one to watch and see how well he does at whatever school he decides. I think if I'm JT Daniels, I'm probably going to look at Oregon State a little bit more. Is it Oregon State? They're the ones that are the Ducks, correct?
Yeah, Oregon is, yes.
No, it's Oregon State.
Oregon is the Ducks. Oregon State is the Beavers.
Okay, I'm not going to the Beavers, so I'm going to go to Missouri. I think I would look at Missouri before I look at Oregon State. West Virginia, I'm not really sold on, so I would definitely look at Mizzou as a team that I would probably want to go to. Just for, I think they get a little bit better coverage in terms of visibility to showcase your talents, to see what you can do in the NFL. Spencer Rattler, like I said, man, listen, he went to South Carolina, which is still in the SEC. I think, he put up, 1,483 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks on 140 of 187 passers, and 74% passer percentage or completion percentage. So I feel like, he probably if he can elevate his team around him, if he can elevate the receivers around him, I think he has the best NFL chance. Personally, I think his NFL hopes are the biggest. They do kind of run a sort of pro scheme style of offense under Marcus Satterfield as the offensive coordinator. So I think out of Spencer Rattler and JT Daniels, I think Rattler has a better chance to go higher if he performs well over JT Daniels. And I think he's the guy to watch in the portal.
I like those picks. I'm going to go with someone different because, why not? I am going to go with Jackson Dart going to Ole Miss. Ole Miss had a very good season last year.
Ole Miss is a good school as well.
Mm-hmm. Dart, still a freshman coming out of the Trojans of USC. Had a decent career in 21, didn't play a whole lot. 61, almost 62% completion percentage, not bad. 1,353 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He threw for a career-high 325 yards against UCLA back in November. And so I think that could maybe, depending on how Ole Miss continues, if they keep doing their good work this year, I think that Jackson could put in some good work for the Rebels this year. But it's going to be interesting because like I said, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in this transfer portal. I got it pulled up here. Quinn Ewers is going to the Texas Longhorns. He was a 5-star recruit from Ohio State. He left. We mentioned Caleb Williams going to USC. Spencer Rattler going to South. I'm interested to see how Rattler's going to do in South Carolina because I feel like he needs to do good to build his reputation back up.
Right.
So let's not forget, he was looked at as a top prospect before he just went downhill last year. And that's where Caleb Williams kind of showed up and took over. And I mean, man, poor
I feel the same
Oklahoma,
way.
Man. Poor Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't expect much at Oklahoma next year. I really don't.
Nah, yeah, it's gonna be a rough transition into the SEC whenever they come, and it's gonna be rough. But real quick, Jay, like I said before, we end the show here in a minute. Current score 72-52. Brooklyn Nets in the lead. About 6:55 left in the third. Brooklyn's winning this one. They're moving on. Safe to say. Cleveland still has a fighting chance though because they are the 8th seed. Or 7 or 8 seed, I forget. But yeah, it ain't looking pretty. I thought Cleveland was gonna have a little bit of a better fight in this, honestly. But
yeah,
looking at the box score real quick here. Currently, for the Nets, 4 of their 5 starters have double-digit points. Durant 14, 5 of 6 shooting. Brown 4 of 11 with 10. Drummond 6 of 10. He has 14 points, and also 8 rebounds. Kyrie still perfect. Jay Kyrie is 10 of 10 from the field, 23 points, 8 assists. Durant has 9 assists as well, and they are just absolutely cooking the Cleveland Cavaliers for dinner. 8 of 16. That's a perfect 50% from 3, 59.2% from the field, and man, as for Cleveland, their leading scorer, Darius Garland, 5 of 13, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 3 from 3. Not too bad, but I mean, my God, compared to what they're going up against. Kevin Love's their next leading scorer, tied with Evan Mobley. Yeah, man, I got yeah,
exactly, and I really feel like even if they did have Jared Allen, I don't think it would have made a difference.
Nah, the Nets are shooting too good. Nets are gonna move on. Man, what a that's how it is though. Sometimes basketball.
And I kind of almost see Cleveland and Charlotte battling it out for the 8th seed, and I think Cleveland can beat Charlotte. I think Cleveland can still slide in at the 8th spot. I don't think they're gonna last long. I think they get kicked out the first round, but But hey, still, man. Hey, look, Cleveland is still a young team. They're still assembling this team. They're still trying to find their identity. So I still tip my hat off to Cleveland. They're not done yet, even though they're going to lose this game. I still think they're going to have a shot.
They're their chance.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks. Hey, we have reached the end of the show. We're going to do some final thoughts here real quick, and then we're going to get out of here and go watch the rest of this play-in tournament. Logan, final thoughts, my brother.
Hey, man, crazy day in sports. We got a lot more coming up on Thursday. Quick look ahead. We've already got some topics in for Thursday. So at the moment, like I said, we'll get Gonzo back. Hopefully, Frankie, we'll see. So the current topics for Thursday, of course, we're going to talk more about the play-in. Will Dan Snyder be forced to sell the Commanders? They have a lot of issues going on at the moment, Jay. And it ain't just in football. It's with the government. We're also going to do some NBA award predictions, who we're going to think is going to win MVP and whatnot. If that hasn't came out already. I know the Coach of the Years came out, so we'll see. Will the MLB, or which MLB team will make the biggest jump forward this year? And then, of course, our wrestling reviews, we're going to have NXT and AEW. Those are the current topics we have. We're going to get even more for Thursday.
Hey, real quick before we go, we'll talk more about this or we're going to touch more about this on Thursday as well. But I want everybody to, just kind of keep in your hearts and keep in your prayers the people that were murdered or killed on the subway outside of Brooklyn. I saw there. I think 29 or 30 were injured, but luckily, Jay, everyone is still alive, obviously hurt in the hospital, but there have been no casualties as of good. But yeah, man, just keep those families in your heart, man, because hey, it's senseless. I don't know why this shooting occurred. It's ridiculous, but just keep those families in your heart as we go through the rest of this week and watch basketball and enjoy what we do, that we keep them in their hearts, and hopefully they have a speedy recovery and get back to their lives as much normalcy as we can expect. All right, folks. Hey, this is the end of the show. Thursday, like Logan said, hopefully we should have Gonzo back. Hopefully we'll have Frankie back, and lots of basketball and sports to talk about. And, man, hey, listen, I don't care what you say. This is a hell of a good time to be alive. There you go. The sporting world is just heating up, and baseball, just barely got us thinking about it. So now, between baseball and we got the NFL draft, we just had the WNBA draft. I mean, honestly, folks, can you think of a better time to be alive than right now? We got NBA playoffs, for crying out loud. Playoffs.
It's getting good.
Until next time. It's your boy Jay Lovin and your boy Logan Landers, and we will see you next time, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're hiding the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces.